Okay, guys, I'm here to review the 2017 Wonder Woman movie. Uh, this will contain spoilers, but then again, I think it's safe to say at this point almost everyone has seen this, given that in its opening weekend alone it's made $103 million or something, I believe. Uh, and yeah, anyway, I have a little time before Money in the Bank starts, even though I am watching the kickoff, but it's muted, so you're not going to hear that. But Wonder Woman starts on Themyscira, where young Diana is watching the Amazons battle and train and whatnot. And she asks for a story, and the story she gets is that the creation of Themyscira, otherwise known as Paradise Island, from her mother Hippolyta. And she recounts the story of Zeus created all the Greek gods and goddesses and all that, but that Ares has the power to destroy the world. Ares, of course, being the Greek god of war. So, Ares is, of course, the Greek god of war. This is DC Ares, so yes, Wonder Woman has fought Ares, as has Kratos, but again, this is the DC Ares, not the Ares that's in the God of War games. And then Diana wants to grow and be a warrior, but Hippolyta doesn't want that until the trainer of her mentor, actually talks her into it. So Wonder Woman gets trained, she becomes an Amazonian warrior, and wants to fight Ares. And seemingly all's going well in Themyscira until U.S. fighter pilot Steve Trevor, who here's a spy for the British, even though I'm pretty sure, it said at World War I, I'm pretty sure it said at a time where America had entered World War I, but I could be wrong on that. He somehow finds a way to Themyscira and all that, and he brings in the Germans. And he brings the Germans with him, there's a fight scene, yada yada, and essentially, Wonder Woman's mentor dies. So they interrogate Steve Trevor to find out exactly what he is, and he tells them that. And they make the decision that they do need to take Steve Trevor back to, I guess, America, or in this case, Paris. But they don't know who goes with him. And now this is something about Wonder Woman's origin that the movie completely omitted, and that's a little competition Hippolyta started to actually figure out who goes back with Steve Trevor. But she lets Diana go back. Diana gets all the stuff that is in a storage somewhere, a shield, armor, and a sword that she believes is the sword that can kill Ares. And so she takes Steve Trevor back, and they have a little bond trip on their little sailing trip, because Steve Trevor doesn't want to sleep with Wonder Woman because, they're not married and all that. Being that is the 1910s or whatever it is, it's a very old school way of thinking, given it's the time of World War I. What is that, the 1910s? Under Woodrow Wilson? So, yeah. They get there, and Steve Trevor has to go report to his superiors, and when his superiors, a stuffy British guy in a suit, and the British Army is about to work out an amnesty deal or something to end the war, but the German general doesn't want that. And Steve Trevor knows about this chemical that they're making, wants to stop that. So long story short, yeah, I know, too late. He takes Wonder Woman with him, and gets some help from that stuffy British guy, Sir Michael. And they meet our the friends, the people that were in that photo of Batman v Superman. And they're off, so to speak. And the second act of this movie is where it really is boring. Okay, yeah. it's still better than say Batman v Superman or whatnot. But it does drag in a couple places, and I'll get to that near the end of the review. But this is definitely one of the drags. And I feel that it dragged because they had to explain the Batman v Superman picture that Wonder Woman had. So, and of course they get there, there's this gala going on, and Wonder Woman wants to kill the German general right in the gala, which wouldn't be smart, which Steve Trevor tries to tell her. So, then Wonder Woman, of course, gets upset because you have to have the misunderstanding between the romantic leads in a movie, because that has to be a thing, doesn't it? Because of the way Steve Trevor was approaching things, yada. So, due to smoke signals or whatever, Wonder Woman tracks down this German general to this place where he's hiding out, and she believes he's Ares, so she stabs him with that sword of hers. But she's surprised to see that the war didn't end, because she was under the impression that if you killed Ares, his influence will be ended over people. But turns out, what a twist, the stuffy British guy in a suit is actually the villain Ares in disguise. That seems to be a thing in comic book movies, isn't it? Because all the Iron Man movies have a stuffy guy in a suit as the actual villain of the film. It's becoming a thing way too much. Villains are actually just bad guys in a suit. But Ares does tell Diana that he never forced anybody to go to this war, that he just put the power of suggestion in their ear, and that we as humans can act on our suggestions, and we may or may not make the right decision about it. And the scene between Wonder Woman and Ares is quite interesting, although I want to know where Ares got thunder powers, because from what I know about Ares in the Greek mythology, he doesn't control lightning or any elemental, of course. But then again, I could be wrong. I only know Zeus controls something in Greek mythology. But it's an interesting fight scene, and of course Wonder Woman has to be down in the dumps until she recalls something that Steve Trevor said to her, which in the movie is muted until this whole happens again, then you hear what he actually says to her, which is very good because it's a good thing. You don't hear it, and then you hear it right when Wonder Woman is about to make her big, I guess you could say in wrestling terms, comeback in a way. Basically it was that Steve Trevor loves Wonder Woman and all that, but he's also going about to sacrifice himself for the greater good, which Wonder Woman sees, and that basically restores Wonder Woman's faith in humanity, and she's able to defeat Ares, and the day is saved, and then I guess she retires for 100 years or so, and works in Paris at an art dealership or whatever she's doing in Batman v Superman. So yeah, this is the best one of the DCU EU so far, that I've seen, between Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and this one. Because I haven't seen Suicide Squad, so I don't know how good that is. This is the best one of those films. However, like I said, it does drag in the second act. The second act can be boring, because there's very little action in it and very little other stuff, so it can be boring. And I also think they spent a tad bit too long on the origin, because of Wonder Woman, given the TV series and everything else, and the fact that almost everyone knows who she is anyway, her origin is something you can really cut back on. Because remember, a lot of the Batman films don't bother telling his origin much anymore. Unless Batman Begins did, but really at this point you don't really need to bother Batman's origin either, because everyone knows his origin story and Superman's origin. So those are the only two nitpicks I really have of this film. I think it was really solid, and I really enjoyed it. That's two movies I reviewed this year I really liked: the Power Rangers movie and this one. Now, it is a letdown that there is no after credits sequence, because there is something they could have done with that. Excuse me. They could have actually introduced the villain for Justice League, so you know who you're dealing with in Justice League, who the 5 members of Justice League had to deal with, despite the fact that I believe almost every hero in the DCU is in a form of the Justice League somewhere. but specifically the five that we know in the movie: Batman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash. And it doesn't do that, and it probably should, because with universes, you always need to be building to something, and Marvel does this the right way. Even ones that aren't in the DCU, in the MCU, have post-credit sequences. Deadpool has a post-credit sequence in it. So, that was a letdown because that could have helped build Justice League up. Other than that, I had no real problem with Wonder Woman. I actually like Steve Trevor's portrayal in this movie. It's much better than how he's portrayed in the 1970s TV series, which is he just exists to be rescued by Wonder Woman a lot of times. So at least here they flesh him out, give him more character, and ultimately it's his sacrifice that restores Wonder Woman's faith in humanity, which the TV series thinks she already had, but the comics and everything makes her a little bit untrustworthy of it. Now, the one thing I am worried about, though, is if Injustice ever gets made, that's going to pose a problem, because, in terms of movies, because of how that universe is with Superman and Wonder Woman, how their characters are, that's going to not make a lot of people like Wonder Woman and Superman, so I'm going to be very interested to see what they actually do with that. If they ever do that. And I do think Superman will show up in a Justice League movie, since how are you going to do one Justice League movie, let alone two, possibly, without him? Since he's the founder, since him and Batman and the comics are the founder of Justice League. So yeah, that's my review of Wonder Woman, the best DCU movie right now. I do plan on seeing Spider-Man Homecoming on July 7th, hopefully. So I'll have a review of that for you. And I am going to review Money in the Bank, because while it's a B show, and generally with me, I have this rule now that if the show doesn't reach 50%, I won't review it. But because this Money in the Bank's a tad bit historic in terms of pay-per-views, I will actually be reviewing that. So that'll be up hopefully sometime this week, but by the end of the month it will be up. So, yeah, if you like this video, like button down there, subscribe button down there. Thank you for watching. Bye.